I think May's figured out where came from. Thanks again, Mo. What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So to start off with some Duke news, they did sign a big get in 2021 though, so not the season coming up, but the following season. A top 10 guy in AJ Griffin. He looks like he's gonna be a tweener between a small forward and power forward just because of how tall he already looks, but I mean, only being 16 already and the way how strong and physically gifted he already looks, and I don't know, it's just definitely the type of guy we want at Duke, especially since Duke, he said, was his favorite school growing up. So I'm obviously glad that we get him in a couple years. So definitely looking forward to him showing up on campus. Then Duke did sign another recruit for next year though, 2020, in a 4-star center in Mark Williams. He looks pretty okay. So I don't know how tall he is, but they definitely need some help at that center position because right now they've just been playing the past couple years like power forwards who are tall, like 6'9" to 6'11", but definitely a big difference when you have a skilled 7-footer down there to be able to not only get his own offense but play on defense as well. So we'll see what he can do next season. Then Fox Sports did a poll saying that Trey Jones won their best defensive player of the year that people are projecting coming up this season, which is fun. I'm glad he won a fan voted thing. I just hope it becomes true, and definitely a couple guys that he was racing against, but yeah, hopefully he can be. He's gonna have definitely a lot of opportunities to show what he can do. Then Emil Jefferson, the ex-Duke power forward, signed a 2-year deal with the Orlando Magic. I knew he was already on their like practice squad and like their summer stuff and everything like that, but I just assumed he already signed a contract, but maybe this is an official contract to where he'll get some playing time with the regular roster instead of having to play in their G League system, which is awesome for him. So really glad he's been able to do that. So congrats to him, obviously. And then the other day, it was the second time when the Pelicans played where it was the second time in NBA history where 3 players from the same college that are on the same NBA team has scored 20 points, which is pretty awesome. All Duke players, and it was Brandon Ingram, Jahlil Okafor, and Frank Jackson all scoring over 20 points. It's pretty cool for the Pelicans. Glad to see that they're getting some playing time instead of just being a weirdo thing that there's a bunch of like Duke guys on one team. They're actually getting some playing time, which I'm very happy about. But on to USC football news. So Porter Gustin, the defensive end who went undrafted, went and signed with the New Orleans Saints but was cut before the season, has officially re-signed onto a practice squad with the Cleveland Browns, which is really cool. So hopefully he can make the team at some point, or I'm just glad he's getting another opportunity. And then Juju Smith, once again making history every week. I think he could have done this in the first couple weeks of the season, but because he's only getting like averaging 1 to 4 catches a game is the reason why he hasn't gotten these things all out together at once. But he is now the youngest player to reach 200 career receptions. So congrats to him. Always sticking the dagger in my heart that the Chargers didn't draft him once again. And then another USC wide receiver that's there now, Michael Pittman Jr., has reached 2,000 career receiving yards, which is awesome. And I believe because of Tyler Vaughns, who also has 2,000 receiving career yards already, it's the 4th time in all of USC's history where they've had 2 guys on the same roster that have over 2,000 receiving yards. I'm pretty sure like the most recent guys were Robert Woods and Marquise Lee, because those guys were beasts with Matt Barkley. But yes, congrats to him, and hopefully they can get some continued success because they put out a dumper this last weekend. And then Brew McCoy, obviously the talented wide receiver I wanted to play this year, but hasn't gotten the opportunity. But then like all of a sudden news came out that he was in an altercation at a frat house, where the only news that came out was apparently him and some other person weren't supposed to be there, and pretty sure it wasn't like a racial or anything type of that. It's just stupid college things. If you're not part of that frat house, and technically you're not supposed to be at that party, but you know how football players think they're allowed to go anywhere. But yeah, I don't know, I haven't really heard much of stuff. He hasn't really been, fined or any discipline like that, so we'll just have to wait and see what other news comes up. Freaking May, you're looking at me. And then also, they keep putting out this thing because USC lost over the weekend, but now should USC fire Clay Helton, especially with the new AD coming? But there's also some news going on that there hasn't been official signing of the new athletic director, so now USC could be in more of a limbo because they don't even have a guy to make that decision as far as who's the next head coach is gonna be. And I don't know, just more freaking drama for USC. But yes, there was like a random picture that keeps floating around of Clay Helton with like some like mark or some blood and stuff on his lip, but they showed a picture of him at the beginning of the game and there's nothing there, and they showed it, that was like the last like 30 seconds of the game. So people are wondering if there's an altercation in the locker room or something like that, or you're kind of just hoping for less drama, that it was because of the weather and his lips got fucked up. But I don't know, maybe there was a fighting or something happened, whether it was him or him trying to stop some people, I don't know. But he looked pretty messed up in that picture. But now they're saying that the USC Trojans need to go after a guy in James Franklin, who's the head coach now at Penn State. I don't know, he's okay. He does somewhat a good job in recruiting, but I just don't know because they haven't really done much other than when they played USC a couple years ago in the Rose Bowl. So they haven't really done anything great since then. They've just been pretty average. So I don't know if him coming out here and recruiting the guys out here would be good enough to make these recruits stay or make them want to play for him either. So who knows? He's a good option. Obviously, I prefer him over Urban Meyer because everybody thinks, oh yeah, Urban Meyer is an automatic going to be the head coach at USC next year. But like I said, he has health problems. Why do you want to go with that crap? But then they're saying that expanding the college playoff system is inevitable, just because I don't know why, I didn't really read it, but I've been pushing this to happen where we need at least 8 teams in there, because Matt Leinart even reiterated this last Saturday, where I've always been saying this, where yes, you get the top 8 teams in the country, but they're the top 4 teams are the teams that have won their conference or whatever, the conference championships, and then they get to host the games as well, that first round, and then the bottom 4, whoever the top 4 at the AP poll or whatever they call it, then they play each other, then they'll play another game, and so it's only 3 games to the championship game, and you don't have to worry about any of these stupid bowl games, and it will give these guys an opportunity to actually want to play in these games instead of sitting out and waiting for the NFL if they're playing in a crappy like Little Caesars Bowl or something like that, where they don't want to play in there. You want to play in the Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, stuff like that. But yeah, that's about it for that type of news, so we'll get on to the next stuff. So, a little bit of Anaheim Ducks news. So they did get the W 2-1 against Vancouver, which is always good. I think they dropped their next one. It was against Chicago. I was kind of hoping for a trifecta of my LA teams beating Chicago, because Chargers beat Chicago, and I was hoping that the Ducks would beat Chicago also, but then the Lakers play at Chicago tonight, so you never know what could happen in the NBA. But yeah, I was hoping for a 3 straight victory over my Chicago family, but hey, you guys got one. We're 1-1, and we'll see who's the winner after tonight. And yeah, I'll put that on another video. But Ryan Getzlaf, also the captain for the Ducks, he did play in his 1,000th career game, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's been around for so freaking long. It's incredible, but it's actually doing pretty okay. I thought he'd falter and go down a really big time like how Corey Perry did last year, but he's been good health-wise and still contributing with points, whether assists or goals here and there. So kind of happy so far with him. Maybe towards the middle part of the season, when they maybe were thinking about trading him or sending him to a better team, then maybe they could get something back in return. You never know, but yeah, he's doing pretty good so far. And then on to some Chargers news. So Melvin Ingram, the star defensive end for the Chargers, he has now career 44 sacks altogether, and now he's passed Sean Merriman for 6 all-time on the Chargers career sack list. So that's awesome to see. Hopefully he can continue to get more, and I'm pretty sure Joey Bosa could get up there. I'm pretty sure he already has over 10, obviously. So, and he's still only in his second year, so kind of looking forward to him getting a lot more. Is it second or third year? I don't know. One of those. He's always been injured before. Now he's actually healthy, so it's kind of a weird thing for Chargers fans. But there is also like a random thing that came out this morning saying that the NFL is maybe thinking about moving the Chargers to London, because the NFL has been wanting an NFL team out there for so long. And as of right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the ones that play over there the most, I believe, just because they're in Florida and they needed a little bit more exposure at the time than, say, the Dolphins or Tampa Bay, really. So, and then the time difference isn't all that bad for them as well. So it's only like, I think, a 3-hour difference if you're on the West Coast. But if you're from over here, it's almost like 8 hours, which is insane because it's like a 5-hour flight out there. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. I think they should really have just gone back to San Diego, because everybody always messes up their name to San Diego Chargers anyways. And I'm pretty sure they would welcome them back. And I don't know why that's still not an option, because I know a year or two ago, the Raiders were thinking about even that being a possibility of them going to San Diego instead of being in Oakland this their final year. But yeah, I don't know how that's still not an option for them, just because it's all really stemming from the attendance when, say, like the bigger teams like, say, Pittsburgh Steelers the other week, or this last weekend when the Packers came, there's probably like 80 to 90% majority are the away team's fans and not the Chargers fans. Yeah, they're still selling out the stadium and making some money, but I don't know if that's really going to help when they go into an even larger stadium that fits 40 to 50,000 more people, and they're sharing it with the Rams, and who knows if the Rams will be happy with them throughout that whole process. But yeah, I just think going back to San Diego make things a lot better, and kind of think that's why Rivers' play, the quarterback, has been up and down, because that fool always makes the commute every single day down back to San Diego where his family is, and then back up to LA or Orange County where they practice. So I don't know how he freaking does it, but yeah, I think that's why his play has gone down a bit. But yes, as I did mention, the Chargers did beat the Packers 26-11. Such a weird score. I can't remember the last time I remember seeing that score, but yeah, a lot of weird plays happening in that game. But at least Melvin Gordon, the running back, got 2 touchdowns, so he's kind of been on a roll. Actually, the whole rushing game, I think the last 4 games in total, they had like 140 yards, and then the game alone last Sunday, they had like almost 150 yards. So it's obviously doing a lot better ever since the first game firing of their offensive coordinator. But like I said, Anthony Lynn likes the running game going, and I told you something like that was going to happen. But then the defense is also playing better as well. They basically won that game against Chicago, and they really did their job against Aaron Rodgers also, unless Aaron Rodgers was just busy partying and worried about his wine freaking stuff up in Silicon Valley with his, I don't know if his girlfriend or his wife, Danica Patrick, she owned something, if he was just too busy with all that crap. But yeah, kind of glad we're able to shut him down, because Linda likes the Packers, and yeah, that's what you get. So, but yeah, that was cool to see. And then also, since everybody won in our division, then it's a pretty big game for the Chargers and Oakland this Thursday to see who's gonna get, sole possession of that second spot, because sadly the Chiefs keep freaking winning even without their best player. But yeah, at least you'll get second place and try to hope for a wild card, or unless the Chiefs end up struggling more towards the end of the season. I don't know, but have to hope and pray that'll happen. But yes, at Oakland this Thursday, probably we'll talk about that. Thinking about Thursday, Friday or Saturday, but I think I should just wait till Saturday to do a next video, because by then the Lakers would have played twice, the Chargers would have played, and then I think pretty early Saturday, USC plays, so then I don't have to worry about anything on Sunday, so might as well get it done on Saturday, so I can just chillax Sunday. But yeah, finish off this rest of this video coming up. Alrighty, so to finish off with some Lakers news, yes, they're actually first in the Western Conference, which it's been a while since I've ever reiterated those words, because I think last year, even with LeBron, they were very close. I think they were like 4th in the West, and now they're first at 5-1, which is so awesome. But yeah, still a lot more work to do, guys. But yes, right now they're also considered the best defensive team statistic-wise, so I'm really happy about that. They've actually had like 2 or 3 of their games where they've held opponents under 100 points, which is actually kind of hard to do in the NBA nowadays with so many possessions and pretty good shooters all around the league. So really happy about that as well. But there's also like some type of weirdo thing, of course, with freaking Anthony Davis coming out where they're actually in Chicago, and that's where he's from. And like I mentioned before, that him always putting out those stupid things in the summer saying about Chicago and still a free agent. Well, he's still reiterating that, and now he's doing it in Chicago, but kind of wonder if he's just doing it to give semi-hope to the people that are there, or is he just doing it to be an asshole, really? But I don't know, he still had comments saying like, you know, there's a possibility he's going to be a free agent next year, we'll see, you know, all this same crap all over again. And you know, I don't know. If he does, then I say then we need to do that stupid ass sign-in trade, because we could get back a Lauri Markkanen or Wendell Carter Jr. or a Zach LaVine as well, because there's no way they could be able to have a couple of those guys on there at the same time and still have to pay them eventually. So that's the only way I think it would be fair, if you have to give up a player or two, just kind of like how the Pelicans had to do for the Lakers. They got 3 other guys and a bunch of picks. I don't even care about the picks. I care about those players, because I actually like those 3 players. And even if they got 1 to 2 of them, with any type of, you know, mixing of those, and I'd actually be pretty happy about that. And then it obviously gives the Lakers an opportunity to go after a free agent next season, next off season as well. But as of right now, there doesn't really seem to be that many quality guys going into the next offseason, so that's just another thing they have to worry about. But the Lakers did get an overtime thriller win over the Dallas Mavericks, which is a pretty good team because of all the talent that they have. But yeah, LeBron recorded a triple-double. So did his opponent, Luka Doncic, who was a pretty good guy going into the second year. He's definitely the future of the NBA, but because of how good the game was and how thrilling it was, because even I was watching the first half and I'm just like, yeah, Lakers look like they might lose this one on the road. And so I stopped watching until I actually went to sleep and woke up later in the night and saw that they won. I was really surprised. But yeah, and they're also saying that because it was such a good, thrilling game, that this needs to be a playoff matchup as soon as possible, or obviously whenever the playoffs come around later in the year. It'd be pretty cool to see, but I think Mavericks are probably going to be a little bit higher than people expect them, so they might not even see each other till the second round, which will be even greater if that goes to 7 games. But yeah, it's just going to be awesome, especially if everybody's healthy going into those matchups later. Then also, the Lakers got a W against the Spurs, which is pretty surprising because it was at San Antonio, which is always a tough place, especially for the Lakers to get. But once again, on the road, LeBron James got a triple-double, which is always great to see him still contributing. He doesn't have to score 30 to 40 points like a lot of these young guys are doing. He just has to do everything, check all the boxes, play some defense here and there, and that's exactly what the Lakers need from him, especially at his age. But his triple-double, I think Anthony Davis had another 20-plus point game, and then even Dwight Howard, he had a double-double as well coming off the bench. And I'm obviously surprised because I'm really glad that he's actually, his second tour with the Lakers has been very positive and he's actually playing very well. I'm just kind of surprised looking at his stats because he's been doing really awesome, but it's just going to see that, you know, I'm pretty sure his role would have been given to DeMarcus Cousins. So to see DeMarcus Cousins, who would have gotten those numbers most likely, but then to even have another guy for him to pair up with in Dwight Howard, even if Dwight was getting half of his average that he's getting now, the Lakers would look unstoppable, especially when it comes to rebounding and defense, and their second team lineup would go up against anybody's first team in the NBA, really. So I'm really excited. I would have been even more excited about the Lakers' chances, and I'm obviously really excited that they're 5-1 to start off the year, which is always great, and hopefully they can get another W tonight against the semi-struggling Chicago Bulls, or Anthony Davis's next next place he's gonna play next year. But yeah, hopefully they get that W. Like I said, there's gonna be more games. Chargers play on Thursday. I'm pretty sure there's another Laker game before Saturday, and then USC goes on the road and plays against Arizona State, which is kind of a big thing too, because last time Lane Kiffin went over there, and I think they actually they lost that game, and before he even got down, when they got to LAX, they fired him right there at the airport, which is pretty crazy. But I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens if USC loses to ASU, because they should beat Arizona State. Whether it's close or not, they still should beat them, because they're obviously capability of being able to beat anybody with the type of players they have. And we'll see. Arizona State does have a couple players I like that USC didn't or weren't able to get. I don't know if it was because of grades or if it's just because there's just not enough room. But guys like Merlin Robinson and Isaiah Crowell on the defensive side, those are guys I really liked. And even Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from San Bernardino, has been doing pretty solid for them. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see that matchup. Hopefully it'll be a good one with the USC getting the W, so Clay Helton can at least last another week. But yeah, a couple more games left in the college football season for USC, so we'll see how that goes. But thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. And have a great rest of your day. And yes, like I mentioned earlier, thanks again to my mom and Jesse and all them for making this for us. Yes, it's on this side of the door just because I don't trust a lot of the people around here, and yeah, I have to keep the outside door unlocked sometimes, and yeah, I just don't want this to be stolen or anything like that stupidly. So keeping it right here for now until we get another set of keys. But yes, thank you very much, and like I said, guys, have a great rest of your day, and thanks again, Mom and Jess.